a world that looked like Sodom. And then Jesus said, which was interesting, they did not understand until the flood came and took them away. Now, in 2 Timothy, Paul tells us that society will be lovers of their own self. Being a baby boomer, I have heard so many in my generation say they do not understand millennials. I've said it too. How self-centered they are, obsessed with tech, uncommitted to anything. Not all of you, I'm just saying. You know, I heard Dave Tobias say once, they have no absolutes. That has stuck with me, and I have lifted that word to the Father when praying for them. Father, give them a compass. Show them the truth, which is an absolute. And hey, if you're not catching Dave and Stan's podcasts each week, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Their words are powerful. I find it interesting, though, that the baby boomer generation is also called the me generation. They have the same traits, just focused in different directions. That one kind of hit home. The baby boomer me generation gave birth to the millennial me generation, all wrapped in self, like the Apostle Paul said. I guess that makes what Socrates said 2,400 years ago. He said the children now love luxury. They have bad manners. They have contempt for authority. They never show respect for their elders, and they love chatter instead of exercise. Some things never change. So what other movements would we see in an end-time generation? Paul said they're proud, disobedient to parents. They're unthankful. They're entitled. They have no natural affection. And I heard of a man who was arrested a few weeks ago in Florida for, with a dog in public. That, my friends, is not a natural affection. If these traits existed in most past generations, we could assume that the last days it would be a society who no longer they don't hide them behind closed doors. They have no shame in what they do, and they cast off all restraint. But I think one of the worst conditions of the last days, even worse than all of this, if that's possible, is that they will have a form of godliness, but deny its power. On the outside, they look great. They sound great, say all the right words, but in their hearts, they're far from the one who gave his life for them. They have no commitment, no plumb line. Now we're talking about people with a form of godliness, no commitment, no plumb line. And as a result, they lack the power of God, and they can't reveal him to a lost and dying generation. They're neither passionate in their beliefs with a firm foundation. Instead, they wander in never lands of compromise and tolerance, and it'll all be all right. Revelation 11:1 says that I was given a measuring rod like a staff, and I was told to rise and evaluate the temple of God and the altar and those who worship there. We look at the outward appearance, but God looks on the hearts. In Luke 18, Jesus shared a story of two men who went to a prayer meeting. One had a form of godliness, and the other was a man seeking mercy. The one who thought he had it going on sat in the front, far from the sinners who usually fill the back row. Now, I remember a time at a large church, I won't say what one, I was attending, where they would bus the homeless in from downtown to the services to hear the word and to be welcomed by others. At first, they let them filter in with the large congregation, sit where they want. But after a few weeks, complaints started coming in that they smelled bad. And some even used foul languages in our church of all places. And these people petitioned that they should section off an area away from the other people to set them. And soon that wasn't good enough either. And after a little more time, the buses stopped coming. The one who had it going on stood in prayer. And he said, God, I am so glad I'm not that guy in the back. I don't smell. I don't use cuss words. I always volunteer. Whereas the guy seeking mercy fell on his face and cried out, Lord, have mercy on me. Because of your blood sacrifice, forgive me. I need you. It is so important that we understand the conditions of our own heart. Are we passionate? Do we seek him? Is he first and foremost in the front of our lives? Or are we going through the motion? Are we having a form of godliness but denying the power? See, the lines are gone. The time of being able to set between the two, they're gone. We're choosing sides. The wheat is being separated from the chaff. And you're on one side or the other. I'm on one side or the other. And I found myself, and actually I still do. I say, Lord, search my heart and show me areas where I am far from you. Show me areas where I tolerate things the enemy has placed inside me, and I move in that direction instead of the one you'd have me go in. And I ask you, Lord, to create in me a clean heart, one that seeks after you and one that sees the things that you see. So this Christmas season, let's search our hearts. Let's be a people who are a light and have an answer to a lost and dying world, rather than one who, like Dave said, have no absolute and live a life without commitment. Thanks for listening. Thanks for opening your heart